The observation theater was designed for studying dangerous specimens. Thick, transparent aluminum walls separated the central chamber from the viewing gallery. 47 representatives from different species filled the gallery, their various forms creating a rainbow of alien biology. At the center of the chamber stood Hana, looking remarkably calm for someone about to injure herself in front of the galaxy's leadership. "Testing communications," Hana said. Her voice carried clearly through the speakers. "We hear you," Commander Zrel confirmed from the gallery. "Are you prepared?" "Ready when you are." Hana held up a small medical scalpel, already sterilized and gleaming under the bright lights. Next to her stood a medical cart with monitoring equipment, bandages, and recording devices. Dr. Velrith's voice came through, nervous and fascinated. "Before you begin, I want to confirm you're going to deliberately damage your tissue?" "Just a small cut," Hana assured him. "Nothing serious. It'll heal in a few days." "Days?" Representative Quinn's crystalline form pulsed with disbelief. "When my species experiences physical damage, repair takes months." "Different biology," Hana said cheerfully. She positioned her left forearm on the medical cart, palm up. "Everyone ready? I'll make a shallow cut about 3 centimeters long, clean and simple." "Proceed," Zrel said, though his tone suggested he thought this was a terrible idea. Hana drew the blade across her forearm. It was a practiced motion, clean and controlled. Immediately, red blood welled up from the wound. The gallery erupted in gasps and exclamations. Several representatives turned away. Ambassador Threll's fungal colony recoiled visibly. "That's blood," Dr. Linthus said unnecessarily. "Your internal fluids are leaking." "That's kind of what happens when you cut skin," Hana said. She set down the scalpel and held her arm steady. "Now watch. This is where it gets interesting." Through the high-powered cameras, every representative could see the wound in microscopic detail on their displays. For several seconds, blood flowed freely. Then something changed. "The bleeding is slowing," Dr. Velrith observed. "Why?" A new voice joined the conversation. "That's called coagulation." Yuna, the human medical officer, materialized as a hologram in the gallery. She wore standard medical attire and carried a datapad. "Let me explain what you're seeing." "Please," Zrel said. Yuna highlighted the wound on the display. Within seconds of injury, Hana's blood platelets, specialized cells, are rushing to the wound site. They stick to the damaged blood vessel walls and to each other, forming a plug. "Her blood is attacking itself?" Ambassador Threll asked. "Not attacking, repairing," Yuna corrected. "The platelets release chemicals that trigger a cascade of reactions. Proteins in the blood called clotting factors activate each other in sequence. Eventually, fibrin proteins form threads that weave together into a mesh. Blood cells get caught in this mesh, forming a clot. On the screen, they could see it happening. The wound was becoming covered with a reddish mass. "This happens automatically?" Representative Quinn asked. "Completely automatic," Yuna confirmed. "Hana doesn't have to think about it. Her body knows what to do." Within 5 minutes, the bleeding had stopped entirely. Hana flexed her fingers. "Phase 1 complete. Now comes Phase 2. There's more?" Dr. Velrith sounded exhausted. "Oh, much more," Yuna said. "Over the next few hours, you'll witness inflammation, immune response, and the beginning of tissue regeneration." The cameras showed microscopic views of the wound area. White blood cells began arriving in force. "Those larger cells moving toward the wound," Yuna explained. "Those are white blood cells, specifically neutrophils. They're part of Hana's immune system." "What are they doing?" Dr. Linthus asked. "Hunting," Yuna said simply. "They're looking for any bacteria or foreign material that might have entered the wound. When they find something, they consume it." "Consume?" Ambassador Threll's entire colony shuddered again. "They engulf foreign particles and destroy them with chemicals," Yuna explained. "It's called phagocytosis." On screen, they watched as white blood cells encountered bacteria at the wound site. The cells extended portions of their membrane, surrounded the bacteria, and pulled them inside. "That cell just ate that organism," Representative Quinn said, her voice hollow. "Yes," Yuna confirmed, "and now it's destroying it with digestive enzymes. The neutrophil will die after consuming several bacteria, and other white blood cells will come clean up the remains." "The cells defending her are dying?" Dr. Velrith asked. "They're sacrificing themselves to protect the whole organism," Yuna said. "That's what they're designed for." Hana rotated her arm for the cameras. The area around the wound was turning slightly red and puffy. "This is inflammation," Increased blood flow to the area brings more immune cells and resources for healing. Your body is swelling, Dr. Linthus observed. Is this normal? Completely normal, Hana assured him. It looks worse than it is. Over the next hour, the representatives watched in fascinated horror as Hana's body responded to the injury. More white blood cells arrived. Different types, macrophages, lymphocytes, each with specific roles. Some cleaned debris, others released chemical signals, and still others began organizing the repair process. Now we're entering the regeneration phase, Yuna explained. Fibroblast cells are moving into the wound area. They'll produce collagen, a structural protein that forms the framework for new tissue. New tissue? Representative Quinn leaned closer to her screen. She's growing new skin? Exactly, Yuna said. Over the next few days, Hana's cells will multiply, filling in the wound. Blood vessels will regrow. Eventually, the wound will close completely. Ambassador Threll spoke quietly. You're telling us that her body will completely repair this damage? Without external intervention? That's correct, Yuna said. Assuming no complications, this wound will heal on its own in about a week. A week, Dr. Velrith repeated. For my species, such an injury would take months to repair, and we would need external crystallization chambers. For my people, Ambassador Threll added, the entire colony would need to focus resources on rebuilding damaged sections. It's a major event. For humans, this is a paper cut, Hana said, smiling. Literally, we get injuries like this all the time and barely notice. How? Representative Quinn's form had turned a confused purple. How can you call this normal? Yuna pulled up a chart. On average, a human will experience hundreds of minor injuries per year. Cuts, scrapes, bruises, burns. Our healing system is designed for constant use. But the cellular cost, Dr. Velrith protested. All those white blood cells dying, all that tissue regeneration. The energy expenditure must be enormous. It is, Yuna agreed. That's why we eat so much compared to many species. We need the calories to fuel our repair systems. And this happens for every injury? Dr. Linthus asked. Every single one, Hana confirmed. Bigger injuries take longer, but the process is the same. Clean the wound, fight infection, rebuild tissue. Commander Zrel had been silent, watching everything. Now he spoke. What happens if the injury is too severe to repair? Yuna's expression became serious. Then we die. Our healing has limits, but those limits are much higher than most species. We can survive injuries that would be instantly fatal to others. Because you're constantly fighting to survive, Ambassador Threll said. Your entire biology is built around damage control and rapid response. When you put it that way, it sounds grim, Hana said. But we don't experience it as fighting. It's just normal life. Representative Quinn studied the displays showing Hana's wound, now covered with a solid clot and surrounded by organized immune activity. I'm beginning to understand. Your species doesn't have stable biology because your planet didn't allow for it. Earth is dynamic, Yuna confirmed. High mutation rates, dense populations, constant environmental pressure. Life there either adapts quickly or doesn't survive. So you evolved bodies that can adapt, Dr. Velrith said slowly. Bodies that are essentially temporary and constantly rebuilding themselves. Exactly, Hana said. She looked at her arm, where the wound was already beginning the long process of healing. We're not built to last forever in one state. We're built to change, adapt, and keep going. Ambassador Threll's colony pulsed with what might have been understanding. This is why your medical scans showed cellular warfare. It's not warfare, it's maintenance. Right, Yuna said. Constant, ongoing maintenance. Every human, every moment of every day. The gallery fell silent as the representatives processed this information. They continued watching Hana's wound on the displays, seeing the organized chaos of cellular activity. Finally, Commander Zrel spoke. Dr. Hana, you may clean and dress the wound. We have seen enough. Do you understand now? Hana asked as she applied antiseptic and a bandage. We're not dangerous. We're just different. Different, Representative Quinn agreed. And terrifying. But perhaps not dangerous. As the observation ended and representatives began leaving the gallery, Dr. Velrith remained, watching the recordings. 300 years, he muttered to himself. 300 years studying biology, and I've never seen anything like this. That's because there's nothing like humans, Yuna said gently. For better or worse, we're unique. In the chamber, Hana flexed her bandaged arm and smiled. By tomorrow, The wound would already be significantly healed. In a week, only a faint line would remain, and eventually even that would fade. The classified briefing room was smaller than the observation theater, but no less secure. Only the council's senior members attended this session. The topic was deemed too sensitive for general broadcast. Commander Zrel had specifically requested complete biological disclosure before Earth could be admitted to the Galactic Council. Jinho sat at the presenter's station, looking distinctly uncomfortable. His datapad contained detailed presentations on human reproduction, complete with diagrams and medical imagery. When the council had asked for a full briefing on how humans propagate, he hadn't expected to be the one giving it. "Let's begin," Commander Zrel said. "Dr. Jinho, please explain human reproduction." Jinho took a deep breath. "Right, okay. So, humans reproduce sexually, which means we require two individuals to create offspring. Like most species," Representative Quinn noted. "This is standard. Yes, but the process might be different from what you're used to," Jinho said carefully. He pulled up a basic diagram. Humans have two biological sexes. Females produce egg cells. Males produce sperm cells. When these cells combine, they form a new organism. "Cloning, then," Ambassador Threll said. "Or budding." "No," Jinho corrected. "The offspring receives genetic material from both parents. It's a unique combination, not a copy." Dr. Linthus leaned forward. "So each offspring is genetically distinct? Not a continuation of the parent organism?" "Correct. Every human child is genetically unique, except for identical twins, but that's a separate topic." Representative Quinn's form shifted colors. "This seems inefficient. Why not produce exact copies?" "Genetic diversity," Jinho explained. "On Earth, adaptability is survival. Unique combinations mean unique traits. Some might be better suited to changing conditions." Sora, the human anthropologist, appeared as a hologram beside Jinho. "I can provide context here. Earth's environment changes rapidly. Temperature shifts, new diseases, changing food sources. Genetic diversity means the population can adapt." "I see," Zrel said. "Continue, Dr. Jinho. Where does this fertilization occur?" This was the part Jinho had been dreading. "Inside the female's body." Silence. "Explain," Dr. Linthus finally said. Jinho pulled up another diagram. "Female humans have a specialized organ called a uterus. After fertilization, the developing embryo implants in the uterine wall and grows there." "Inside her body?" Ambassador Threll's colony rippled with what might have been alarm. "She grows a new organism internally?" "Yes," Jinho confirmed. "For approximately 9 months." 9 months? Representative Quinn's form turned a shocked white. "She carries this growing organism for 9 of your months?" "On average," Jinho said. "Sometimes longer, sometimes shorter." Dr. Velrith, who had been reviewing the medical data, spoke up. "According to these scans, the developing human draws nutrients directly from the mother's bloodstream, through a specialized organ called a placenta." "That's correct," Jinho said. "The placenta connects the developing fetus to the mother's circulatory system. It provides oxygen and nutrients while removing waste products." Ambassador Threll's entire colony shuddered. "The offspring is parasitic?" "Not parasitic," Sora interjected. "Symbiotic. Yes, there's a biological cost to the mother, but it's a natural process that humans evolved to handle." "Handle?" Dr. Linthus sounded skeptical. "What is the survival rate for mothers?" "In modern times with medical care? Over 99%, Jinho said. "Historically, it was more dangerous, but we've developed medical techniques to manage complications." Representative Quinn was studying the diagrams intently. "The embryo grows from microscopic to these dimensions in 9 months? About 50 centimeters long and 3 to 4 kilograms at birth," Jinho confirmed. "That's enormous growth," Dr. Velrith said. "The cellular replication rate must be extraordinary." "It is," Jinho agreed. "Fastest growth rate in the human lifespan." "And then what happens?" Zrel asked. "How does the offspring exit the mother?" Jinho hesitated. "Through a process called labor and birth. The uterus contracts, pushing the baby out through the birth canal." He pulled up a medical diagram showing the process. Several representatives made sounds of distress. "That appears painful," Dr. Linthus observed. "It is," Sora confirmed. "Extremely painful. Human females have developed high pain tolerance partly because of this." Ambassador Threll spoke quietly. "Your females endure this willingly." They do, Sora said, though willingly varies. Some humans want children desperately, others don't. But the biological capacity exists in all females of reproductive age. What's reproductive age? Representative Quinn asked. Jinho pulled up another chart. Females typically become capable of reproduction around age 12 to 14. Males around the same time. This capacity lasts until the female is approximately 50 years old. Dr. Velrith was doing calculations. So a human female could potentially produce offspring for 35 to 40 years? Theoretically, yes, Jinho said. Though in practice, most humans don't reproduce continuously. How often can they reproduce? Zrel asked. After giving birth, a female could potentially become pregnant again within months. But the biological cost is high. Most space pregnancies out by years. But theoretically, Dr. Velrith pressed, a mated pair could produce dozens of offspring? Yes, Jinho admitted, though modern humans usually choose to have fewer children. Ambassador Threll's colony was pulsing rapidly. You said Earth's population is 15 billion? Approximately, Sora confirmed. And all of them were produced through this internal gestation process? Every single one, Jinho said. The council chamber fell into stunned silence. Representative Quinn finally spoke. After birth, how does the offspring survive? Is it independent? No, Sora said. Human infants are completely helpless. They require constant care. For how long? Dr. Linthus asked. Years, Sora said. Physical maturity takes about 18 years. Neural development continues into the mid-20s. 18 years? Zrel sounded incredulous. Your offspring are dependent for 18 years? That's for full independence, Jinho clarified. But yes, human children need care for a very long time compared to most species. How do they feed? Representative Quinn asked. Jinho looked pained. This was the other part he'd been dreading. Initially, they feed on milk produced by the mother's body. Milk? A nutritious fluid, Jinho explained. Rich in proteins, fats, and antibodies. It's produced by specialized glands. Dr. Velrith pulled up the biological data. This milk is derived from modified sweat glands that produce a substance similar to blood plasma? That's technically correct, but makes it sound worse than it is, Jinho said. Your infants consume a bodily fluid from their mothers, Ambassador Threll said slowly. A fluid derived from their blood. When put that way, it did sound bad. Sora stepped in. This is common among a whole class of animals on Earth called mammals. It's an efficient way to provide complete nutrition to developing young. For how long? Dr. Linthus asked. Typically 6 months to 2 years, Jinho said. Then the child transitions to solid food. Representative Quinn had turned an alarmed purple. Let me understand this completely. Human females carry developing offspring internally for 9 months, drawing nutrients from their own body. Then they push the offspring out through a painful process. Then they feed the offspring a fluid derived from their own blood. For years, they care for this helpless organism until it becomes independent. That's accurate, Sora confirmed. Why? Quinn asked simply. Why would evolution design such an inefficient system? Sora smiled. Because it works. Human infants are born with relatively large brains, larger than most species at birth. But to make birth possible, they're born before their brains are fully developed. That's why they need so much care. The long development period allows for extensive learning. Human intelligence is a result of prolonged helplessness. Dr. Velrith asked. Essentially, Sora said, our young learn for years before independence. It creates highly adaptable, intelligent adults. Jinho added, and despite the biological cost, humans reproduce successfully. 15 billion of us, remember? Commander Zrel was silent for a long moment. This explains the population growth. If each pair can produce multiple offspring, and those offspring mature to reproduce themselves, exponential growth, Dr. Velrith confirmed. Limited only by resources and choice. Ambassador Threll spoke carefully. Your species evolved on a harsh world. This reproductive strategy, producing many offspring, investing heavily in their development, this is a survival strategy. Correct, Sora said. Not all children historically survive to adulthood. Having multiple offspring increased the chances that some would survive. And now, Representative Quinn asked, with modern medicine? Most children survive, Jinho said, which is why population control has become important. We don't need to have many children anymore, so we don't. Dr. Linthus studied the data. This is the most resource-intensive reproductive system I've ever encountered. It has costs, Sora agreed, but it produces resilient, adaptable offspring. That was the trade-off. Commander Zrel looked at all the data displayed around the room. I'm beginning to see a pattern. Your healing, your cellular turnover, your reproduction. Everything about human biology involves high cost and high benefit. We're expensive to run, Jinho admitted with a slight smile, but we get results. One final question, Representative Quinn said. The medical station floated in the darkness of space like a silver flower. Its metal petals were actually laboratories, each one designed to study different forms of life from across the galaxy. Today, Dr. Velrith stood in Lab 7, preparing for what should have been a simple task. Velrith's 6 arms moved with practiced grace as he calibrated the scanning equipment. His crystalline eyes reflected the soft blue lights of the machinery. After 300 years of studying alien biology, he thought he had seen everything. He was wrong. The door hissed open. A human walked in, carrying a small cup that released steam into the recycled air. The human was shorter than most species Velrith had encountered, with dark hair and eyes that seemed perpetually tired. His identification badge read, Minho, Earth Medical Liaison. Good morning, Doctor, Minho said, his voice pleasant despite the early hour. He took a sip from his cup. Ready to get this over with? Velrith's translator implant processed the words. Indeed, please sit on the examination platform. This is standard procedure for all new species joining the Galactic Council. We must ensure you carry no biological threats. Minho climbed onto the platform, still holding his drink. Sure, fair enough. Been through this twice already on other stations. Previous stations found irregularities? Velrith asked, his concern rising. They found my biology weird, Minho said with a shrug. Everyone does. Velrith activated the scanner. A beam of soft light moved down Minho's body, collecting data about every cell, every molecule. The doctor watched his screens, expecting the usual readings: stable cellular structure, predictable protein chains, orderly genetic code. The screens exploded with red warnings. What? Velrith's 3 hearts began beating faster. His primary hands flew across the controls while his secondary hands pulled up additional monitoring systems. This cannot be correct. Minho glanced at the screens. Oh, that? Yeah, that's normal. Normal? Velrith's voice rose an octave. The scanner shows active viral replication in your tissues. Your cells are displaying mutation patterns. There are millions of cellular deaths occurring every second. As always, Minho said calmly, taking another sip of his coffee. The laboratory's artificial intelligence detected the anomalous readings. Alarm systems activated throughout the station. Red lights began flashing. Heavy blast doors slammed down, sealing Lab 7 from the rest of the facility. Through the reinforced windows, Velrith could see security teams running toward their position. Please remain calm, the AI's voice announced through speakers. Quarantine protocols engaged. Potential biological hazard detected. Medical staff to emergency positions. Minho sighed and set down his coffee cup. Here we go again. Within minutes, 12 armed security officers surrounded the lab, their weapons pointed at the windows. 3 medical response teams arrived wearing full containment suits. Station Commander Zrel, a massive 8-legged Vrelian, appeared on every screen in the lab. Dr. Velrith, Zrel's deep voice rumbled. Report, what is the nature of the contamination? Velrith was still staring at his screens in disbelief. Commander, the human specimen shows signs of massive cellular corruption. His genome is unstable. There appears to be warfare occurring inside his body at the molecular level. I'm right here, Minho said, and I can hear you. The human is still conscious? Zrel sounded surprised. Despite this biological attack? It's not an attack, Minho explained, his patience clearly worn thin. This is just how humans work. Impossible, Velrith said. No life form can survive with this level of cellular chaos. Your immune system appears to be attacking your own body. Your cells are dying and being replaced constantly. According to these readings, the surface layer of your skin is actively shedding dead cellular matter. Minho scratched his arm absently. Yeah, that's called being alive. For a human, anyway. The station's chief medical officer, Dr. Pinth, appeared on another screen. Her species existed as a colony organism, and her unified voice carried the weight of 1,000 minds. We must contain this. If this condition spreads to other species, it won't spread, Minho interrupted. I'm not sick. I'm not contagious. I'm just human. Your genetic code shows active transcription errors, Velrith said, pulling up a detailed cellular image. Look at this. Your DNA is being damaged and repaired continuously. Proteins are being built, used, and destroyed. There are foreign organisms living inside your digestive system. Those are gut bacteria, Minho said. They help me digest food. Every alien on the screens reacted with visible disgust. Commander Z'Rell's skin changed to a sickly gray color. Dr. Pinth's colony shuddered. You allow foreign organisms to live inside you? Pinth asked, her horror evident. It's symbiotic, Minho tried to explain. They help me, I help them. It's normal. Velrith's hands trembled as he ran more scans. Your blood cells have a limited lifespan. They die and are replaced every few of your months. The same with your skin, your stomach lining, even your bones are constantly breaking down and rebuilding. Yep. How are you alive? Velrith whispered. Minho picked up his coffee again. Because that's what being alive means for humans. Look, I know this seems strange to you, but from our perspective, all of you are the weird ones. Explain, Commander Z'Rell demanded. Your cells just sit there, Minho said. They don't replace themselves. They don't heal quickly. If you get a cut, it stays a cut for weeks or months. When humans get cut, we heal in days. Because your body consumes itself and rebuilds, Velrith said, his voice full of disturbed fascination. Exactly. The security teams hadn't lowered their weapons. Medical staff in containment suits were taking readings through the blast door. Every screen in the lab showed alien faces ranging from confused to terrified. Minho finished his coffee and looked directly at Commander Z'Rell. Sir, I understand this is concerning, but I promise you this is normal human biology. Every single human works this way. All 15 billion of us. There was a long silence. 15 billion? Dr. Pinth finally asked. 15 billion organisms all in a state of constant cellular warfare. We call it homeostasis, Minho said. It's balance, not warfare. Commander Z'Rell's image flickered. I am convening an emergency council session. Dr. Velrith, keep the human contained but comfortable. We need to understand this before we allow Earth into the Galactic Council. Understood, Commander. As the screens went dark, Velrith looked at Minho with a mixture of fear and scientific curiosity. How long have your species existed in this state? Millions of years, give or take, and it doesn't disturb you? This constant death and rebirth happening inside your own body? Minho smiled sadly. Doctor, we don't even think about it. To us, it's as natural as breathing. He paused. Do you want me to explain breathing? Because that might also freak you out. Velrith decided he needed to sit down. His legs suddenly felt weak. Outside the lab, the security teams maintained their positions. Inside, a human sat calmly, his body engaged in a billion acts of destruction and creation every second, completely unaware that he represented one of the most terrifying forms of life the galaxy had ever encountered. As always, the emergency council chamber materialized across 17 star systems simultaneously. Holographic representatives from the galaxy's major species appeared in a circle, their forms shimmering with light-speed lag. At the center of the projection field stood Commander Z'Rell, his massive form dominating the space. We face an unprecedented situation, Z'Rell announced. A species has applied for council membership whose biology may pose a threat to galactic stability. Representative Quinn of the Crystalline Collective spoke first. Her body was composed of living diamond, unchanged for the past millennium. We have reviewed the medical scans. This cannot be accurate. No species could survive such conditions. The human is alive and apparently healthy, Z'Rell confirmed. Dr. Velrith has verified the readings 3 times. A new hologram appeared in the circle. A young woman with bright eyes and an eager smile materialized. She wore a white coat over casual clothing. Her badge identified her as Hannah, human biologist. Hello, everyone, Hannah said cheerfully. I'm here to help explain human biology. The council chamber erupted in a dozen different languages, all expressing variations of concern and confusion. Z'Rell raised 4 of his legs, calling for silence. Please proceed, Dr. Hannah, Z'Rell said. Hannah pulled up a holographic display. It showed a simplified diagram of a human cell. So let's start with the basics. Human cells are constantly active. They're not stable like most of your species. They're dynamic. Dynamic? Representative Quinn's crystalline form pulsed with confusion. You mean unstable? No, I mean dynamic, Hana corrected gently. They change, adapt, die, and get replaced. It's a feature, not a bug. Your cells die. This came from Ambassador Threll of the fungal networks. His species shared consciousness across their entire population, and the concept of cellular death seemed to disturb all of them simultaneously. All the time, Hana said brightly. The cells lining my stomach are replaced completely every few days. My skin cells turn over every few weeks. Red blood cells last about 4 months, then new ones are made. Representative Quinn's form flickered. In her species, cells remained stable for centuries. But if your cells die and are replaced, are you still the same individual? Hana paused, considering. Philosophically? That's a great question. Biologically? My DNA remains consistent, so yes, I'm still me. Just a constantly updated version of me. Another hologram appeared, a middle-aged human man with tired eyes and an expression of infinite patience. I'm Taiho, human immunologist. Perhaps I can clarify. Please, Srel said. Taiho displayed an animation of the human immune system. Humans evolved on a planet with high biological diversity and mutation rates. Our immune systems are designed to identify and destroy threats constantly. Your body attacks things constantly? Ambassador Threll asked. Every second, Taiho confirmed. Foreign bacteria, viruses, damaged cells, potential cancer cells. We have an entire army inside us fighting battles we're not even aware of. The Vrelian medical officer, Dr. Linthus, spoke up. This sounds exhausting. How do your bodies maintain energy? We eat a lot, Hana said. Compared to most species, humans need to consume food frequently. We process it quickly and use the energy to fuel our cellular activity. Taiho added, our metabolism is high. We generate significant heat as a byproduct. Our resting body temperature would be considered a fever for many of you. You're constantly overheating? Representative Quinn sounded alarmed. It's our normal, Hana said. In fact, if our temperature drops, we start dying. The council chamber fell silent. Every representative seemed to be processing this information. Finally, Ambassador Threll spoke. You mentioned that cells are replaced. Explain the process, Hana brightened. Oh, that's the cool part. When cells get damaged or old, they undergo programmed death. We call it apoptosis. The cell basically dismantles itself in an orderly way, and neighboring cells absorb the remains. Then new cells divide to replace the old ones. Your cells commit suicide, Dr. Linthus said slowly. For the good of the whole body, yes. And this happens continuously. Millions of times a day, Taiho confirmed. Right now as we speak, thousands of my cells are dying and being replaced. Representative Quinn's form turned a deep, troubled blue. This is horrific. It's efficient, Hana countered. Damaged cells don't stick around causing problems. They're removed and replaced. It's quality control. A new representative joined the call. Ambassador Vrek of the Silicon Collective. His species existed as crystalline matrices that computed reality. I have analyzed the human medical data. Your DNA strands show regular damage and repair. That's correct, Taiho said. Our DNA gets damaged thousands of times a day from radiation, chemical reactions, and replication errors. But we have repair mechanisms that fix it constantly. And if the damage cannot be repaired? Vrek asked. Then the cell self-destructs before it can cause problems. Ambassador Threll's entire colony shuddered, visible even through the hologram. You're describing biological warfare. Your bodies are battlefields. Our bodies are gardens, Hana corrected. We maintain them through constant care. Yes, there's conflict, but there's also cooperation. Those gut bacteria Minho mentioned? We have trillions of them. They're not us, but we need them. You carry trillions of foreign organisms inside you? Representative Quinn's horror was evident. They're not foreign, they're partners, Hana explained. They help us digest food we couldn't process alone. They produce vitamins we need. They even help train our immune systems. Taiho pulled up another diagram. Think of it this way. A human body contains about 30 trillion human cells and about 40 trillion bacterial cells. We're not just organisms. We're ecosystems. The council chamber erupted again. This time Zrel couldn't restore order quickly. Species that had existed in stable cellular states for millennia were confronting a form of life that contradicted everything they understood. Dr. Linthus finally managed to speak over the chaos. This explains the scanner errors. The equipment was detecting all this cellular activity, the death, the replication, the immune responses, and interpreting it as a biological attack. Because to most species it would be an attack, Vrek observed. But to humans it's Tuesday, Hana laughed. Exactly. We're not aware of any of this. It just happens. It's automatic. Representative Quinn's form had turned a pale, worried white. But your cells change. They mutate. How do you prevent cancer? We don't always, Taiho admitted. Cancer happens. But our immune systems usually catch and destroy cancer cells before they become problems. Usually. Usually, Quinn repeated. Not always. Nothing in biology is always, Hana said. That's the thing about dynamic systems. They're adaptable but not perfect. Ambassador Threll's colony had been silent, processing. When he spoke again, his voice carried a new tone. You said you evolved this way. On your homeworld? Yes, Hana confirmed. What kind of world creates life that must constantly fight itself to survive? Hana and Taiho exchanged glances. Taiho spoke carefully. Earth is competitive. High mutation rates, dense population, diverse ecosystems. Life there doesn't sit still. It adapts or dies. Your planet sounds terrifying, Representative Quinn said. It's home, Hana said simply. And it made us who we are. Commander Zrel raised a leg. We need more information before proceeding. I propose a demonstration. Let us observe human biology in controlled conditions. What kind of demonstration? Taiho asked cautiously. Healing, Dr. Linthus suggested. They claim their cells regenerate rapidly. I would like to see this, Hana shrugged. Sure, I can do that. When? Tomorrow. We will prepare observation facilities. As the holograms began to flicker out, Representative Quinn remained. Dr. Hana, one question. Does it hurt? All this constant cellular death? Hana smiled gently. We don't feel it. Pain comes from damage, but normal cellular turnover? That's just life. We're used to it. I don't think I could get used to it, Quinn said softly before her image vanished. Alone in their respective locations, Hana and Taiho looked at each other through the remaining connection. They're terrified of us, Taiho observed. They'll understand eventually, Hana said. We just need to show them that different doesn't mean dangerous. I hope you're right. I am, Hana said confidently. After all, we heal fast. Tomorrow they'll see. The connection ended, leaving both humans wondering if the galaxy was ready to accept a species that existed in constant, controlled chaos. You mentioned that not all humans want children. But the biological capacity exists. What stops the Joint Research Facility hummed with activity? For the first time in galactic history, human and alien scientists worked side by side, their equipment creating a strange harmony of beeps, whirs, and crystalline chimes. In the central lab, Hyun stood before a massive holographic display showing human DNA in exquisite detail. There, he said, highlighting a sequence. See this repair mechanism? It's checking for errors constantly. Dr. Velrith studied the display with all 6 of his eyes. But why? My species' DNA remains stable for centuries without such intensive maintenance. Because on Earth, DNA doesn't get to stay stable, Hyun explained. Let me show you something. He pulled up environmental data from Earth alongside samples from other homeworlds in the Council. The differences were striking. Earth has relatively high background radiation, Hyun pointed out. Not enough to be immediately dangerous, but enough to cause DNA damage over time. Plus, our sun produces UV radiation that damages cellular structures. Representative Quinn, present via hologram, studied the data. Our homeworld has natural shielding from such radiation. We never evolved defenses against it, exactly, Hyun said. But Earth doesn't have that shielding. So we evolved repair systems. He zoomed in on specific genes. These code for DNA repair enzymes. They patrol the genome constantly looking for damage. When they find it, they cut it out and rebuild it correctly. Constantly? Dr. Velrith asked. Every cell, every moment, Hyun confirmed. Your DNA gets damaged thousands of times per day just from normal metabolic processes. Without repair systems, you'd accumulate mutations and die. A new hologram appeared. Rena, the immunologist, joining from another lab. And it's not just radiation. Earth is crowded with life. Dense populations mean high disease transmission rates. Show them the viral data, Hyun suggested. Rena pulled up a 3-dimensional model of Earth's viral diversity. Earth has millions of viral species, bacteria that outnumber stars in the galaxy. Fungi, parasites, prions, everything that could possibly infect a human probably evolved on Earth. Ambassador Threll's fungal colony rippled with something like recognition. A hostile environment. Extremely hostile, Rena agreed. And fast-changing. Viruses and bacteria mutate rapidly. A pathogen that couldn't infect humans last year might evolve the ability this year. Dr. Velrith was beginning to understand. So your immune systems aren't just defending against static threats. They're defending against evolving threats. Now you're getting it, Rena said enthusiastically. She pulled up a diagram of a human antibody. Look at this. This is an antibody molecule. Its job is to recognize and grab onto foreign proteins. I see the binding region, Dr. Velrith said, studying the structure. That binding region can change shape, Rena explained. Not fixed like most proteins. It's variable. The immune system can generate millions of different antibody variants, each recognizing different targets. Millions? Representative Quinn's form pulsed. How is that possible? Hyun jumped in. Genetic recombination in immune cells. They shuffle their DNA segments randomly to create diversity. It's controlled chaos at the genetic level. Your cells deliberately scramble their own DNA? Dr. Velrith sounded shocked. Only immune cells and only specific genes, Hyun clarified. But yes, it's how we generate enough diversity to recognize any possible pathogen. Rena added, and when an antibody finds something it binds to, the immune system remembers it. We call them memory cells. They stick around for decades, sometimes for life. Your body remembers every pathogen it encounters? Ambassador Threll asked. Every single one, Rena confirmed. That's how immunity works. First exposure is dangerous because we have to figure out how to fight it. Second exposure? We already know how. Response is fast and effective. Dr. Velrith was pacing now, his multiple legs carrying him in circles around the lab. This is extraordinary. You're describing an adaptive learning system at the cellular level. Basically, yes, Hyun said. Our immune systems learn from experience. And it's not just defense, Rena added. She pulled up images of gut bacteria. Remember those trillions of bacteria living inside humans? Unfortunately, Representative Quinn said. They're part of the system, Rena explained. They train our immune systems. Babies are born with relatively naive immune systems. As they're exposed to bacteria, from their mothers, from food, from the environment, their immune systems learn what's dangerous and what's not. You deliberately expose your offspring to bacteria? Dr. Velrith asked. Not deliberately, it just happens, Rena said. But yes, we need that exposure. Children raised in completely sterile environments actually develop weaker immune systems. Hyun pulled up a comparison chart. Look at this. Human immune response versus average council species response to a novel pathogen. The data was dramatic. Council species showed slow, uniform responses that took weeks to months to become effective. Human responses started slow but ramped up exponentially, becoming effective in days. You adapt faster, Dr. Velrith observed. We have to, Hyun said. On Earth, pathogens evolve in real time. We're in a constant arms race with diseases. They evolve to infect us, we evolve to resist them. They evolve to overcome our resistance, and on and on. For millions of years, Rena added, Earth life has been in biological competition forever. Ambassador Threll spoke quietly. This is why your cellular biology is so chaotic. You're not at peace with your environment. You're at war with it. War is too strong a word, Hyun said thoughtfully. It's more like vigorous competition. Everything on Earth is trying to survive. That means eating something else, avoiding being eaten, and reproducing before something kills you. Representative Quinn had been silent, processing. Your entire evolutionary history is defined by this struggle. Pretty much, Rena agreed. Humans who couldn't adapt died. Humans who could adapt passed on their genes. Over millions of years, that created us. Highly adaptable, fast-healing, and immunologically aggressive. Dr. Velrith stopped pacing. I understand now why the medical scanners showed what they did. They weren't detecting an attack. They were detecting normal human function. But normal human function looks like biological warfare to species from stable environments. Exactly, Hyun said. Your planets are gardens. Earth is a battlefield. Not by choice, Rena added quickly. We didn't choose this. It's just what we got. A new hologram joined them, Minho looking tired but interested. How's the research going? Enlightening, Dr. Velrith said. We've been discussing why human biology is so intense. The why are you like this conversation, Minho said with a knowing smile. Yeah, Earth is a rough neighborhood. Hyun pulled up a final chart. I've been comparing mutation rates across homeworlds. Earth's viral and bacterial mutation rates are 10 to 50 times higher than most council worlds. Why? Representative Quinn asked. Dense population, high diversity, and environmental factors, Hyun explained. Earth's atmosphere, temperature variations, seasonal changes, everything contributes to faster evolution. Life on Earth doesn't have the luxury of stability, Rena said, so it adapted to instability. Ambassador Threll's colony pulsed with what might have been understanding. Your rapid cellular turnover, your aggressive immune system, your high reproduction rate, these aren't flaws. They're adaptations to a hostile world. Finally, Minho said. Someone gets it. Dr. Velrith turned to face the humans. I have studied biology for 300 years. I thought I understood life. But human biology challenges every assumption I've made. Because we're weird, Rena said cheerfully. No, Velrith corrected. Because you're from a different type of world. A world where stability is impossible. Where adaptation is the only survival strategy. Hyun nodded. That's exactly right. We're not better or worse than other species. We're just optimized for different conditions. Harsh conditions, Representative Quinn observed. Very harsh, Minho agreed. But they made us who we are. The lab fell quiet for a moment. Around them, equipment continued monitoring human and alien cellular processes side by side. The differences were obvious, but now the reasons for those differences were becoming clear. I have a question, Ambassador Threll said. If humans evolved to survive such harsh conditions, what happens when you encounter gentler environments? Rena and Hyun exchanged glances. We don't know yet, Rena admitted. Humans have only been off Earth for a short time, but our immune systems might be overactive in less challenging environments. Like bringing a sword to a peaceful gathering, Dr. Velrith suggested. Something like that, Hyun said. Minho stepped forward. That's something we'll need to study. How humans adapt to different environments. Whether our biology can calm down when we don't need to be so aggressive, or whether we're permanently programmed for survival, Rena added. Representative Quinn's form shifted to a thoughtful amber. This research has been valuable. The council was concerned that humans might be dangerous. Now I understand you're not dangerous. You're survivors. Is there a difference? Ambassador Threll asked. Yes, Velrith said firmly. Dangerous implies intent to harm. Survivors simply do what's necessary to continue existing. Humans didn't choose to evolve this way. Their planet shaped them, and now we're here, Minho said. Hoping to join the galactic community. Hoping our differences won't